Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Leaders Toolbox podcast. I'm Andre Young. I hope that you've been having an amazing day so far, and I look forward to making it even a bit better with today's special guest, Laura MacDonald. She is the VP of Training and Marketing for PRG. I have had the pleasure and honor of speaking and training with leadership and work-life harmony at PRG down in Virginia Beach a while back. And not only was Laura one of the most awesome people I've ever met, but so was her leaders, her team, her employees, the event overall. And she's on this show today for something special that I'm going to get into. But first, welcome Laura to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. It's such an honor. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. And guys, I never do this. Faithful listeners, you know I never do this. New listeners, this is a new thing. I'm prefacing what we're talking about today because it's that important. And we're going to be talking about positivity because Laura is one of the most positive people that I know. And I want to share with you, I know that there are a lot of things in the world not to be positive about sometimes. Mm-hmm. As a former employee, I remember, and leader in a position of leadership at a job, I remember going through a divorce and I was a walking zombie for like a year. And there was a lot of there was things not to be positive about. Financial crisis that followed and not knowing if I was going to be able to feed my kids or myself. I'm 210 pounds and I dropped down to 170 because my kids ate first. So there were some things not to be positive about. My mom passing while doing my business. And you bump into so many people, and Laura, you know this. Guys listening, you know this. You ask most people, hey, how's it going? Living the dream. People who are living the dream, it don't sound like that. And if that's you, I get it. However, there is a positivity in being positive as an employee, as a leader, and it's about a mindset and not wasting your and our pain. Don't waste your pain. You're a leader listening to this show. You have to be because you put this on. It's about the mindset, extracting the lesson from the pain, and then applying the lesson so we can all be better. And I can't think of a better person to feature that than Laura MacDonald. Thanks. So Laura, my first question for you, if you don't mind if we jump right in.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Were you born this positive or did you become this positive?
It's so funny. I'm glad you asked because I was going to tell you this. I feel like my mom kind of instilled this in me. She's very positive. We're from the South, okay? We are in North Carolina. We also, everybody's positive around here to an extent to people's faces. But I do feel like genuinely my mom is just the most positive person and she kind of made me this way. So I feel like that's just, I would give all the credit to mom first. And that's kind of, I have a daughter. I'm raising her the same way. I tell her teachers at school, I think being kind is the most important thing. I don't care if she's excelling in, the lessons you're teaching her. I want her to be kind first and foremost. And that's kind of the person I just want to portray as well. I just think that, being positive and kind is important. It'll get you everywhere you need to go.
Well, go, Miss MacDonald, Laura's mom, huh?
She's Miss Young, technically. She went through a divorce too, but you know what? She will appreciate either way. But Miss MacDonald is my mother-in-law, also very kind. We'll give them both some credit.
So let me ask you, because you made a great statement there that you're raising your daughter to be the same way. So yes. For listeners out there, including myself, there's things that we can do to be more positive intentionally. And I want to ask you what some of those things are, because a lot of us, even at work, you're great at your job. Sometimes we don't know how much we know about it. And we all have a book in us that we can write. You could probably write a book on being positive, raising a kid with positivity, but we really never say it out loud. So I'm asking you to kind of say it out loud. What are some things that you do to maintain your positivity and also raise positivity in your daughter?
That's a great question. I feel like it's all about seeing the silver lining. So when something's going bad, she falls down, something happens. I feel like it's all about the silver lining. Well, you're okay. We're going to keep going. Let's keep going throughout the day. And same thing at work. I think that, having an optimistic, positive approach, people feel like you're more approachable when you're that way. And more trustworthy. I feel like, those difficult situations, turmoil, things that happen at work, if you are putting a negative emphasis on it or you have that outlook, it is draining and you're not productive. I feel like people don't want to come to a Debbie Downer. That's the last person they want to talk to. But it goes back and forth because you want people to obviously think you're being genuine too. And you're a speaker, you probably hear this a lot, but I think it's all about repurposing energy a lot of
Mm.
times. So when I'm having a bad day or when she's having a bad day, I'm all about how can we repurpose this energy? And especially like I present a lot at work too. So you got those nerves, you're feeling nervous, you're feeling anxious. It could be about a personal thing or, a work thing. And really it's taking a step back and thinking about, all right, let's put a silver lining on this. How can I repurpose this energy and turn this into excitement and positivity? How can I turn this situation around? I think is, really important.
Wow,
Repurpose.
I've been taking notes, and you guys listening, I want to kind of go over some things that I picked up from that because we call every show leadership nuggets with dot 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 because there's always a ton of nuggets here.
Yeah.
And the one thing, so I took four. Number one, speak positive about dot dot dot.
Yep.
Number two, repurpose energy. Number three, bad day, which I want to come back to. And number four, stop and reevaluate. So the speaking positive when I spoke with for PRG, one of the things that I think I shared, maybe I didn't, was being able to positive gossip.
Oh,
Like
yes.
that is
Love
so
that.
important.
That was one of the things we told you, maybe leave gossip out. We're kind of on the fence about it. We don't know how we feel about it, but it turned out to be I would say the best part of the session. Everyone came out with that takeaway of like, oh, I'm going to start talking positively about my team members and it's considered gossip, but it's okay.
Well, because positive gossip travels slower than bad gossip, but it still travels. And it's not only what it does for the people who hear it, but it's also what it does for you. Like for us to stay positive, we have to speak positive. And we can always complain about the new project, the new leader, the new employees that we have, or our
Yeah.
husband or wives. But you do that for too long, you can never like them, like it, give it your all. So speak positive, number one. Um, the bad day. I love that you mentioned because people think positive people are fake.
No,
And
no.
you have bad
Just
days, right?
a lot of them. We have a lot of bad days. It's funny. My husband's a pilot, so he's gone half the time. He's gone 7 days at a time. And I'm home with a toddler. I'm also working a full-time job that it can be extremely stressful. I'm leading two different departments. There are days when I get done and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm going to make it today, knowing I will. But it feels like you've just got the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're trying to raise a happy human. You're trying to make sure everybody at work thinks you're happy all the time.
Right.
It can be very exhausting and you can have a lot of bad days, but I think that you just can't put the energy into that. You have to turn it around and say, like, how am I going to make this a good day? Let's talk about our wins. You talked about this when you spoke at PRG2, looking at your wins every day. I do that. I talk to my daughter about things that even when my husband's not home, I'm talking to her like she's an adult of things that went well for my day. And I'm like, how was your day? Who's your best
Yes.
friend at school today? What'd you do? I think just
Yes.
talking about your wins is very important because every day, no matter how bad the day is, there's always some type of positive nugget you can pull from it and you can focus on that and less on the negative. It's just,
Wow, I love that because that leads right into that stop and reevaluate. Because when you're feeling too negative or things are a whirlwind of negativity, stop and extract. Hey, what's good here? How can we turn this around? What's going to be fun? What do I need? And I throw in one more thing too for positivity. Well, the bad day.
yes.
I love when well, I don't love it, but when I have a bad day, or when a leader or somebody has a bad day, and if you're listening to this for the first time, a leader can be anyone, whether
Yes.
you're a leader in your home, whether you're a leader at work, a leader, when you choose to lead your life, you're a leader. And sometimes the people around us need to see us have a bad day because it
I'm glad you
shows
mentioned
them,
that.
right?
Yes.
It shows them that we bleed, okay?
We're human. We have bad days too.
But leaders bounce back faster than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Some people never bounce back from a bad day, a bad event. 40 years later, they're still carrying it with them. I remember in between leaving mental health and starting my business full time, I needed some frontline jobs. And
Mm-hmm.
in one of those frontline jobs, I was a salesman at Bob's Discount Furniture. Go Bob's, right? And I was very positive, and everything that I was teaching from leadership down, I found out worked from employee up. And being positive did a couple things. One, it attracted the other positive people to me and repelled the negative ones.
Mm-hmm.
When the negative ones really needed positivity or real life stuff, they knew where to come. And they knew they couldn't come with negativity. And they did. And it was amazing because even the people who were negative minded were really great people.
Mm-hmm.
But one day, me and a coworker got into it. So
Oh.
we're sales and it could be tense, and he did something that was very inappropriate. And me and him got into a verbal argument. And I remember, ooh, I cracked.
Oh.
Within 20 minutes, me and him hugged it out. I apologized to my supervisor that was on the floor, and I said, look, I apologize. I am sorry. That is not the person that I want to be or represent. That will never happen again. He understood. We shook
Yeah.
hands. Me and the other guy hugged it out. But it was so powerful for the other people watching.
Mm-hmm. And you never know who's watching. Someone's always watching and you don't see them, and they remember these little moments.
Right.
That for you, it might have been a quick moment. You talk about it now, but it's over, it's done with, but they probably still think about it and how it
Right.
affected them. That impact
Because,
is,
yeah. Because you don't have to be positive. I mean, sometimes you crack, but can you
yeah,
bounce back faster? And that was the real
yeah,
thing that I took out of that, that hopefully that they saw too.
yes, agreed.
So let me ask you some of the positives that you've were afforded or rewarded due to your positivity when you first started out as an employee, okay?
Mm.
And then into your leadership roles, because there's some good things that must have come your way because you were positive.
I 100% agree. I think that positivity, let's just be honest, okay? Skill set, very important. Okay. It's a key component to growth, key component to success, yes. But to me, likability, positivity is just as important. When I'm hiring someone or looking at that, I think about this all the time. I think that, she's likable. I can train her. We can make this work. She may not know everything now. And I think that is partly why I got hired because I was right out of college. First interview was at PRG. This is the only company I've ever worked with. I've been there 17 years. I adore PRG. They've given me so many opportunities. But I will say, when I first started, I was a marketing major at NC State. Go Pack. And I went to an apartment community. I had no idea. I lived in an apartment, but it was a little different than this one. Different types of residents, different location than I was used to. And I walked in and had the interview. It was basically a leasing representative. They called me within the same day, wanted to hire me, and I called mom and I was like, Mom, they want to hire me. And I think partly it was because I dressed the part, probably overdressed for the interview, and I was
No
nice.
problem.
I probably didn't know a lot, but I was really nice, really outgoing, probably didn't shut up. They were like, she'll be great. She can lease apartments. So it worked out in my favor, I would say then. But really, throughout my career, I feel like I've been outgoing and I've tried to connect with leaders that I strive to be like. And because of that, I've had a lot of opportunities to work with some amazing mentors throughout my career. Some of them I still work with daily. And I don't want to consider myself the personality hire because that's got a negative connotation. Okay. But we have some of those. And those are usually our most positive people that people want to be around. But I do think some of my mentors have placed me in leadership roles because I'm likable and they know that people will want to report to me because I'm likable. And I also relate to them. I've been kind of where they've been since I started, I don't want to say from the bottom, but as a leasing representative and worked my way up to different types of jobs at PRG. But I definitely think positivity had a lot to do with it. No one wants a Debbie Downer. How often do you see a Debbie Downer getting promoted to, you
Right.
know,
Right.
up and up and up? You just don't see it very often. And yeah, you might have a CEO that's grumpy occasionally, but they obviously weren't that way the whole time or they wouldn't have got where they were. So I definitely think positivity plays a huge impact, and likability. It's huge in
Well,
any career. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
so I wrote down positivity, likability, and you mentioned the C word, and that was big for me, connection.
Mm,
And guys, listen, you said something, Laura, that connection, plus you connected with leaders that you wanted to be like.
yes. Like you look at people and you're like, that's where I want to go one day. I want to be like her. And even if it's not identical to her, I want something like that, or she's very likable. And I think look at all the people that want to work with her. And so,
Mhm.
you just learn from your mentors along the way and you kind of learn how you want to be, how you don't want to be. And I
I
would say
said,
people I
I would say,
respect
look,
most usually are positive. They're usually,
yeah,
happy to be around.
yeah, because I say, look, positive people steal a lot. And that sounds like an oxymoron, but when you look around and you see people, it's okay to admire people. It's
Hmm.
okay to, and you don't even really know why, but even when they enter the room, you're like, ooh, that person has
Yes.
something. That
Mhm.
person's somebody. That person, and it's great to feel that way.
Yes.
But when it only stops there, that's a problem because that's such
Yeah.
a missed opportunity. That's like ignoring the epiphany that you had in your mind. You
Exactly.
knew, you saw it, you felt it. So
It's a wasted opportunity if you don't do something about it. You've got to like meet these
absolutely.
people and take something from them,
So you
steal it.
steal this from this from this person,
Exactly.
and you put it into you so you can evolve. But I
Yeah.
want to ask you very cleanly and bluntly, how is somebody listening to this today who may be apprehensive to connect and might feel weird to do that?
Yes.
How do you connect with somebody who you admire and may want to take some of their qualities?
I think that is a great question. Let me think. I feel like the first thing is just even having a conversation saying, complimenting them on something they just did. Maybe they gave a speech. Maybe it was something you got from them. Maybe you heard them have an interaction with someone, but give them a compliment off the bat. I think that first, everybody loves to hear something positive about themselves or something that they've done well. It gives them that little boost of energy, something they did, they heard about from someone else. So I feel like first just reaching out to someone and being like, I really liked this that you did, or, I really like how you did this project. I'd love to maybe get 5 minutes of your time just to kind of learn a little bit from you and start with something small. Maybe just have a coffee, maybe something, a 5 minute conversation. And then they're going to obviously gain that connection with you. And then you can always follow up and say, like, let's have another 30-minute conversation. My supervisor is phenomenal at this. She realized I liked having, mentor calls with her. We would have like these quick check-ins where she would teach me one thing. And I was like, I really enjoy this. So now
Nice.
we have a monthly mentor call where I set aside time on my calendar. I don't do anything else. And for me, that's personal growth. I don't want to talk to anyone. I only want to talk to her during that hour. And I kind of shut everything else out. And we have a monthly mentor call, but she's one of those people that I became friends with. I liked what she was doing. We were doing different jobs at one point, and I just like how she was. And I was like, you're successful. I can see that you're going to be something big one day. And now look at her. She's my supervisor.
Wow.
So, I feel like it's just that start with something small, compliment 5 minutes of someone's time.
Guys, I told you that Laura was going to give you nugget after nugget. You guys, from now on, you see somebody that has an attribute, a quality, a skill, or just that something that you admire. What we first want to do, and this is from Laura MacDonald, not from me, you want to compliment. Most
Yeah.
people like compliments. I don't know many people that don't like. Some people might get anxious about them or get nervous, but everybody likes a compliment. And then ask for their time, and then finally lead it. You're asking, most of the time, you're asking a leader. They're busy. They're as busy as you, if not busier than you. So
Yes.
lead it with, hey, what times are great for you? Or hey, can I send you a link? Or hey, these 2 times work for me. Finish it and lead it and get on their calendar. And because what I found too, Laura, and you might attest to this, that the greatest leaders are the biggest givers.
Oh yeah, they want to, and it's like a lot of them just aren't offering their time. They don't know that you want it, so a lot of
Right.
them they think that that's something that's going to annoy you to be like, oh, I have to sit down with you for an hour. Am I in trouble? What is it now? Yeah, I definitely think that just asking and leading, like with my monthly mentor call, I send her an agenda of things I want to cover in advance, and I think that that takes the work off of the
You're
leader.
leading
They
it.
shouldn't have to think about what they're going to talk to you about. You should say
Right.
like, this is what I'd love to talk about in our 5 minutes. I
Right.
love that you mentioned that.
I love that. You're leading it
Yeah.
because the leader is also busy. So I love that. People ask me from time to time, hey, can you be my mentor? Can I get on a call with you? And they may not be in a high level or they just starting out and they say, I'm so surprised that you would take the call. And I'm like, I love chatting with people, now this is, we'll see where it goes from here. But if I can give somebody and help collapse time frames that took me to get to where I got, then why
Oh my
not?
gosh. Our CEO preaches this. The best way to measure someone's performance is to see how many people you've helped get to where they are. So, looking at internal promotions like that, being someone's
Yes,
mentor, that's the biggest give back you can give to anybody. It's amazing.
absolutely. And I will tell people too, people are worried about turnover. Yes, turnover is going to cost you money. Yes, turnover is a nightmare to have to deal with. And there's such a thing as a bad turnover and good turnover.
Yes.
Okay? When you're the leader and you're losing people for all the wrong reasons because of your poor leadership, that's bad turnover.
Yes.
When you're losing people because you are mentoring, coaching them, and building them up, and there are no longer any
Yeah.
more promotions to give at the job, there's no
Yeah.
more money to get, but they have to go because they're so daggone good because of you, that's good turnover. And they'll
That's
go
right. This is
somewhere
the
in the
best thing we
world.
can teach anybody today. Gosh, this is amazing. I love this.
Yeah, because they'll go somewhere and people will start liking, and your company will get a reputation from all
Yes.
of the people that are leaving your company. And these are going to be good or bad, so make it good. And then they're gonna be like, I like the people that come from that place. What are they doing over there?
Yes.
And when it all funnels back down to you, they know who the leader is. They know who produced it.
Right. And I tell my people this all the time. I have 16 members under me, and I tell them constantly, I'm like, if you ever want to leave, I want you to have that conversation with me because I want to make sure you're going somewhere and you're getting growth out of that leave.
Yes.
Like, I don't want you to leave for a lateral move. That's not beneficial to anybody. Make
Right.
sure that you're getting, a great raise, a good promotion. There's something that we can offer you because if you want it, I want to be able to give it to you here first. But
Absolutely.
it's
If I can do it, great. But if not, I'm gonna help you leave and help you be great. Because if
not.
you come on back, you're gonna come back and so
Why do people fear that? I don't know. That's the one thing I've learned
right.
throughout my career is that it's all about how you help other people succeed. And that's positivity in itself because they're learning from
Yes.
you and they're
Yes.
taking your positivity and they're learning. And I feel like that's what matters the most is you're teaching other people.
Well, let me switch gears for a second
Okay.
because I'm a big believer in there's two sides to everything. Well, sometimes more than two. But we have the pro and we have the concern. We just talked a lot about the pro of positivity.
Yes.
However, everything has a concern.
Yes.
Because sometimes, especially as new leaders, newly promoted leaders, sometimes we could be so positive that it could get in our way. It can get in the way of us leading effectively or putting out the vision of where we're going in the way that our people need to see us. So I don't want to give too much of that question away, but what are some concerns that you may have had or you may have seen where people have been so positive that it affected their leadership?
Ooh, this still happens to me today where people, they see someone that's too nice as a people pleaser and someone that they can kind of run over, take credit for their ideas. And I think that it comes down to you can be, and obviously people are going to question, are you being genuine? Is she always this nice? Is she always, so positive? And I think people question your authenticity, which, can be a little hurtful sometimes because you're like, yeah, this is me. But I do see, not everybody's going to get along at work and that's okay. That there are people that are going to push your boundaries because they think you're too nice and those boundaries that you're setting and you have to, I feel like something I've learned along the way too of someone taught me this, I can't remember who and I hate that, but being fair, firm and consistent. And I think a lot of times when you are being very nice all the time, they don't see you as being firm ever. So I think sometimes you have to put your foot down and you have to be a little firm, like, unfortunately, I can't help you with that right now, or I can't take your call right now, but I can take it this time, or I can't do that project. I'm a little too overwhelmed with what I've got on my plate right now. I think just being honest with people, and then they do respect you more and they realize you are genuine and you are, authentic. I just sometimes setting those boundaries and being firm can be very difficult. Even for me, sometimes I say yes to projects because I'm a yeser. Like at work, at least, I say yes a lot. At home, I can say no way more often. Like, no, I do not feel like going there. But at work, I want to be that person that's like, yes, I'll help you with this, or yes, I'll take your call. But there are times you have to put your foot down, and I think people will respect you more in the long run for it, though.
Absolutely. I'll share something that I use that helps me to be kind and positive, but also on brand with what we're doing and also protecting my leadership and raising theirs. And then I would love to ask you, like, what are some things that you like, some specific things you did? And I love that. Hey, I would love to take your call.
Yeah.
But right now I'm doing this. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
So for me, I'm big on prefacing stuff up front. Like, listen, hey, I'm a connector. I'm very positive and I love having a good time. We're going to celebrate a lot of successes. We're going to do great things. At some point, I might have to ask some questions about things or say something that's hard to hear or bring up a point. Is that going to be okay? Because I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't. And I get people just like you guys are watching, you're listening and not watching. Laura just nodded her head. You want that affirmation because at some point I might have to come back and I batted 1,000 with this, 1,000%. Hey, Laura, you got a second? Hey, you remember that time where I said I might have to ask some questions and things? All right, you ready?
Yeah, this is
and
it.
Did you hear Laura's reaction was a brace for impact.
Yeah.
A literal brace for impact. And now I get to say, hey, listen, I like this. Can you help me to understand what's going on with this?
Yes.
And now we could have that tough conversation. But when I was being nice and positive, I set up a boundary that I might have to do something that I don't want to do.
Yes.
And when I don't follow through with it, when I done said it, it makes me look bad as a leader.
Yes. Because you have to give the bad news too. You can't always be positive and everything's perfect. It's just that's not life.
Yes.
So,
And I love how you protected
constructive
your,
criticism is what grows people. They need this.
yes.
That's the only thing that they don't think they need to change anything. They're never actually going to grow and get uncomfortable in their position. So, yeah.
Well, because eventually what happens is that everybody under you will eventually now be doing their own thing.
Yes.
And everything that they are doing is the most important thing to them.
Yes.
However, things change all the time. So as a leader of my company and your division, I am 100% in charge of the vision and the vision factors. I need to know what the vision is and the 3 to 5 things it takes to effectively make that happen. I spend no time on the vision, all the time on the vision factors. Here's the expectations and the rules of how we're going to do it. So when people come with ideas, I get, as leaders, we get to make our yeses powerful and our nos meaningful.
Oh, I like that.
As
Yes.
long as your idea is within the vision factors, heck yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
When it's not within there, now my no is not personal, it's meaningful. Hey, I like the idea, but can you fit that idea inside these vision factors? If so, great. If not, it's not a time.
Ooh, but it also goes into play where our vision for PRG, we have these, buckets we try and fit into with our, our ultimate goals for PRG. And you have a lot of people that have so many great ideas and they
Yes.
may fit in those buckets, but you may say, we're a little too nimble right now to push through with that idea. So
Right.
we're going to have to kind of put that one on the back burner, or I need you to take, spearhead that, take full
Right.
leadership of it. And I can't put it on my plate, but you can put it on yours. So I think there's a way to say
Yes. Can you say that again? Back up, Laura. Can you say that part
I was
again?
like, I think I said something like, I can't take it on my plate, but you can put it on yours.
All right, pause.
Yeah.
We can drop the mic right there.
I can't do it, but you can.
Right. Because I don't care if you're on a volunteer board, I run a nonprofit and I run a for-profit. And people can have great ideas. But if your idea is for me to do, that's not fair to me.
Well, majority of them aren't they? I feel like
right. And it's like, okay, so I'll make my yeses powerful and my no's meaningful. But when maybe there's time, hey, listen, right now, these are the priorities, but here's a side project for you. You do it and it starts to propel and move forward the way we are going to define a win. Do it for 2 months, 3 months. And if it's yielding that, then that's great. If not, let's agree to scrap it. Right.
Yeah.
And we're good.
It's so true. We have a suggestion box, which seemed like a really great idea when I created it, right? I was like, this is going to be great. We're going to get so many suggestions. I'm going to be able to do them all. Well, then we have been flooded with suggestions of policy changes, form changes, and I just can hardly keep up with them in my normal job and looking at the suggestion box. So a lot of them, I'm like, these are great ideas because you want your team and your entire company to feel like their feedback matters. What they think the company should go. They're on the front lines. A lot of these folks that are giving me ideas, they know what's going to affect our customers, our investors, and they're helping. But it's like we're also a company of 290 employees. We don't have enough time and energy to make all of this come to fruition. So I think sometimes it's more or less still hearing them and saying, we heard you, it's on our list, we're going to get it done. Even if they can't handle it and something I know I have to do, it's still nice to be able to hear their ideas.
Absolutely. And being transparent that we heard them, this is where we are with certain things, because a lot of times everybody's idea is the best idea because they're the one that had it. But why people who are, whether it's on the front line or they don't sit in the leader's seat, they don't see all of the emails, they don't see the board meetings, they don't see the changing things. It is our job as a leader to be transparent about that, so they can have enough understanding of why the yeses and nos are happening. Doesn't mean that they have to like it. And you might lose some people for a little bit. Even if they don't leave the company, they might check out a little bit. But as long as they're doing it with information, and I tell my kids all the time, have your feeling and then quickly get into your plan.
Ooh.
So, right, you can't help the feeling, have the feeling, but then get into your plan quicker. So let your people have their feeling, but then what's going to be your plan for positivity moving forward?
Yes, because it's about giving that encouragement. Like we want it. I'm still being positive. I'm still listening to what you're saying, but we can't always do everything that's, asked of us.
Right. Here's the final question for the day.
Ooh.
You mentioned when we first started working from home, your husband's a pilot in a way a lot, and you are running the household, the kids and all that. And my wife and I lived that for 4 years through COVID and our daughter being home, and she's super energetic. And then I have a 16-year-old that's doing football, and oh my goodness. So the schedule. And I have really found that when we're talking specifically about remote work,
Mhm.
yes, people complained about the drive and the commute to work.
Yes,
However, you had a prep drive into work.
you did.
You had a de-escalation drive home. When you work remote, you have neither of those, and your roles are squished together
Very true.
more than ever before.
Mhm.
Nobody knows how much your work you're really doing and or not doing, but you're a great leader. You're doing a lot, so they don't see you
Yeah.
drowning. And then
Oh
when
my
the end of
gosh,
the
I'm so
day, the
glad you mentioned
workday
that.
ends,
Yes.
the workday ends, and you go right into mom mode, right into
Yes.
dad mode, or whatever mode, without a pause, a break, a reflection. So my question for you is, what advice? Well, what do you do? And what
Mhm.
advice would you give leaders that are living this remote work life right now?
Oh my gosh. And you don't have to be a parent, but for all you parents out there that are working 2 full-time jobs in a row with no break, I
All
see
day
you, I
long.
hear you, I feel it in my bones. Yes, I would say for me personally, when I first started at PRG, there was no one working remote. Okay. This was obviously years ago. And in 2020, everybody started working remote for a little while. Then in the nature of our business, that's not accessible for everybody. So we have on-site property management. So they are on-site dealing with our residents, our vendors, everybody. So I feel extremely lucky to be able to work remote in my position. I do travel some still with PRG, but I would say the first thing that helps me is having a separate space that I come into and I work at. This is my work area. Now there is a little Peloton stuff over here. I work out sometimes, occasionally, but I will say this is mainly, we turned a bedroom into my office. That was the first thing, because we used to have my office in a bonus room where there was a lot of toys and stuff going on and a
Oh,
TV, and
yeah,
it's just too
yeah.
much. So having a personal space for me is very important. I find, I might be unusual, but I find I'm most productive in the morning. So I get up, drop my daughter at daycare, which isn't also kind of nice because I do get that like prep. Like I get,
Yeah.
to play some good music on the way home. Like I'm getting energized, I'm ready to go. And then I feel like I'm most productive first thing in the morning. I like to knock out emails. I really like to honestly get a head start before the team show up. So before everyone's on Teams and they're on green and ready to go, I like to at least have, my email box sifted through. Maybe not done, but sifted. Um, but I think also being remote, one of the most important things, especially as a leader, is turning on your camera. People need to still
Mm,
see you. They need
mm,
to feel like they're connected to you. So
mm.
have your weekly check-in calls with your team or those
Can,
touch points.
can can we pause for a second?
Yes, be on.
Because I hear so many employees complain about having that camera on.
I mean,
And
I do too.
as a leader, it is mandatory that your
Mhm.
camera is up. Not only do I want to see your eyeballs, but multitasking doesn't work as well as you think it
It
does.
does not.
It doesn't.
No one's
And if
actually successful that's a multitasker. We know that, right? Like you got to finish one task before you get to the next.
right, and then on top of it, connection matters.
Hmm.
And if we only see each other on this hour scheduled Zoom call and our emails, then that means that every word we say, every piece of eye contact,
Yes,
every smile we get to have is more important than ever. And you miss
yes.
it when the camera's off.
You do. You don't, it's just like when you're messaging someone through email, you don't always know what their intention was or how
Mhm.
they wrote that email if you're not seeing them. So I think the verbal seeing and visualizing someone's facial expressions, it's important. Our teams need that, especially because
Absolutely.
the 2 teams I manage, one of them, all of them travel, and then one of them, they're based in Philadelphia. So they see a lot of other leaders in person. They need to be able to
Right.
see me in person at least once a week on camera. But I think it's important to get ready. If we don't get ready and get in front of the camera, I am not as productive. If I have my hair in a ponytail and I'm in pajamas, I'm just not as productive the way it is.
My
So,
son, Laura, my son tried to get in the car to go to school one day with Crocs and pajama pants on. Now, if
yeah.
you work or go to school or let your kids, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. However, there is a lot of science tied behind you will behave the way you dress.
Yes.
And I told my
Dress
son
the job
once,
you want,
yeah, you get a 4.0, you can go to school wearing a freaking bathrobe for all I care. You don't
Yes.
have a 4.0, so take the Crocs off, put some shoes on, put some real pants on, and then you can go. And that may be for a lot of us who are working from home or working remote, because you may, and another thing, and this is for boyfriend, girlfriends, girlfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, boyfriend, married couples, whatever. You're
Yep.
working from home remotely. I still want to look good for my wife.
That's right. You mentioned this at the conference, and I was like, I love that. Like,
Yeah, I want to get dressed. I take a shower,
gotta keep
because
that
you
spark.
could not shower for days working remote. Like I still want to shower. I want to put my best cologne on, not my
Right.
around the house cologne on. I want to get dressed, and I could do my day. And I'm very fortunate that she does the same. And I would love her as much now if she didn't. It sure is
I agree.
nice.
But I mean, I will say the one great thing about a camera is I can go like 4 or 5 days with dry shampoo in my hair and people don't notice it. So that part is a little better than being in person, but I would agree. You're just more productive when you put on, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be the pants. You can wear leggings, but you got to have on your nice shirt, nice hair, feel like you're ready to go out in public. I mean, some of us will go out in public looking pretty rough these days, but you know what I mean. We want to make sure. But I also feel like it's important to set aside time for yourself. So this could be, I have a treadmill under my desk. I can walk if I want to, standing at my desk. Sometimes that's just all I need to feel like I, set some time away for me. But also it could be your monthly mentor call. It could be your weekly mentor call, whatever it is, whatever makes you feel like I'm getting something out of the day. It's not just giving, giving, giving.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
like you said, you do have to steal a little bit here and there. You want to steal from people, but you also want to make sure you're stealing for yourself, that you feel like you have, you're a priority still.
Laura, I
Even
love that you said that because before we hit record, I shared with you that my assistant and I said, look, no call Mondays. I still have work to do. Well, no call Wednesdays. I'm sorry.
yes, Wednesdays. Yeah.
I still have things to do that I get to do for the business, but no
Yes.
calls, which means I can pack up my laptop. I go down to a cigar lounge that I'm a member of. Shout out to Legacy Cigars. You are amazing.
Sponsor him.
I go to the mailbox about 12 times a day.
Oh, I love
Laura, you guys listening, I know there's nothing in that daggone
that. But
mailbox.
it feels good to walk all the way down the driveway and come back. It feels
Right.
great.
Get my sunshine, get a walk, because you
Yes.
mentioned the walk, right?
Yes. I have a dog that likes to walk with me. So he goes with me because he'll just lay next to me majority of the day. And he's like, are we going out yet? You ready for a break? Because you also have the tendency, like what I mentioned earlier, PRG did not do this for a long time. We didn't work from home. Now we have quite a few remote employees, but there's still that like pressure of, do they know I'm working? Am I on green all the time? Do they know I have calls? I want to make sure they think I'm still, valuable to them, even though I'm not forward facing at the corporate office with everybody looking at what I'm doing. So I think it's still kind of proving your worth of value, but at the same time, keeping mental health, that's important, making sure that you feel, supported and you're a priority. I think that it's important just to kind of have a good balance.
Well, and you brought up a great point that I have not really thought of, but for you guys working from home, a lot of times we may be running a team,
Yes.
okay, and we do a lot of check-ins with our team, but we may have to check up sometimes and say,
Yes.
hey, bosses, or because even CEOs have boards, so hey,
Yes.
board, this is what I've been focusing on. This is what's been done so far. This is where
Yes.
we're at. Just to give them a check-in, because sometimes out of sight, out of mind, and you really don't want them coming to you later with tough questions, conversations, as if they're curious about things. Beat them to the punch.
Oh my gosh, always be one step ahead. If anyone takes anything from this call, that is the other thing, positivity and being one step ahead. I feel like one of our previous founders, he's passed away now, but he was always that way. He was like, always be one step ahead. If I call you, already have the answer or anticipate what my needs are, what I may be asking you. And I do the same thing for my supervisor. I send her a weekly email when I remember to, of all the things that are pending, what's been completed, what I've been working on. So she doesn't have to even call me if she doesn't want to. She can look at the bullet points and see like, here's what she's working on this week. But she doesn't ask for that. It's more or less like that's me trying to be one step ahead. And I think that, it's funny because the teams underneath me, they start doing this now. And I didn't ever ask for it, but they see that I've done it. And I feel like they learn from you. They see what you're doing. And I think that you don't realize these little things have an impact on people that you're doing every day. And you don't have to say, do this or do that. They're watching what you're doing.
And I'm big on the word protection, Laura. So
Yes.
it allows us to protect us and our priorities because we can think we're doing a great job. And then all of a sudden they come with, this curiosity or they don't know what you're doing. And you find out that you've been doing all the wrong things or prioritizing the wrong things.
Right.
So checking up instead of checking down and let them know where you're at. They could say, oh, you've been focused on this. This is where we're going to be going moving forward. So do less of this and do more of that, or make these fine-tuned changes. So I love that as our final point of the day. And guys, here's something. Here's positivity at its finest. Laura was nervous to be on the show and talk to you guys today. And hasn't she been absolutely amazing?
Thank you so much. I was so nervous, but we've repurposed that energy. We have made it excitement and positivity throughout. So it worked. Everybody
Boom.
should do that moving forward. But thank you so much. This has been so fun, and I feel like I want to do it again. Should we do this again? We should do it
I
again.
would love to. I would love to. But before we close, I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Oh my
Three
gosh,
big
you didn't
rapid
warn
fire
me about this.
questions.
Let's hear it. Okay.
Nice and easy. You ready?
I think so, maybe.
What's the number one or two things that you do to make your work-life harmony matter? What are the one or two things you love doing?
Ooh, one or two things I love doing. Ooh, that's hard. I would say work-life balance. I think it's important to, if I want to leave early to pick up my daughter one day, like I'm communicating this with my supervisor because it's a beautiful day and I want to go to the park with my daughter. I think something like that is probably number one. If I'm being honest on leaving early sometimes is important to me. And then also, listening to music throughout the day gives me work-life harmony. I feel like even if I step away or I do a little happy dance on something that went well, and then come back to my desk, little things like that are nice for work-life balance.
That's awesome. I love music too. My wife will see me in the house with my big noise cancellation headphones on and I'm listening to my music. If I'm not careful, I can do that for 24 hours straight because I am
Yeah.
in my own world doing, and I can get so much done. It's
Oh yeah.
amazing.
I have to do like classical a lot though when I'm typing because I'll
Oh
start
yeah, yeah,
what I'm hearing and I'm like, oh
yeah.
no, no, no.
I found that because I started really falling in love with cooking. And this leads into my next question for you.
Okay.
So I love cooking on the grill and even in the wintertime. I put music on. I might cook enough food for the fall, like because I won't want to stop. And I'm cooking bulk for the week and blah blah blah. That's a lot of stuff there.
I
But
love that. You can
what's my
come over and
second?
cook if you want to. I'm here half the time
I
by
will.
myself. Bring your whole family. We'll all have dinner together. It'd be great.
I got great at making fish and brown sugar salmon and steaks and pork
Oh,
chops.
that's amazing. It's almost lunchtime, see?
What's something that people would be surprised to know about you?
Oh my gosh, these are hard. Surprised to know about me. That I'm human and have bad days and I'm not always happy. And my
Mhm.
husband would be like, they thought you were the most positive. Are you sure? No, I'm kidding. That's probably one. I would say something else about me. I love laundry and cleaning. I'm like a weirdo that like I should have said that was my work
That's my
balance.
wife.
I love to go do laundry
My
and
wife
everybody.
is the same.
Yeah, and I would like to get a private pilot's license. That's another thing that you might not
Ooh.
know about me. My husband is an instructor, so maybe one day, I don't know if he could do it though, because I feel like I'd question him a lot, even though I know he's good at his job.
Me and my wife work great in separate sandboxes. We can pull our sandboxes up next to each other, but in the same sandbox.
Yeah, no, no. And
Last
oh,
question.
my last thing. Hold on, I got
Yeah.
one more. I want to visit all the 50 states. My parents
Ooh.
have done that. They visited every state, but it doesn't count unless you spend the night there. And my husband and I are trying to visit one national park a year with our daughter. So if you didn't know that about me, I want to visit all the states. So
That is
that's
awesome. I echo that. I'm with you on that. I have a lot down, but I get so excited about the opportunities to speak in Montana, Idaho,
I'm going to Montana
North
in two
Dakota.
weeks. I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
That is awesome. I just got asked to speak in New Mexico, and I haven't been, and that's
Cool.
one of the things on my list
Yes.
that I'm very excited about. So,
Yes.
last question.
Okay.
The next big thing, the big thing for you, professionally and or personally, what is it?
Oh, the next big thing for me, I would say personally, I would love to live in the mountains. So my husband and I are looking into maybe eventually moving to the mountains. It's kind of personally. Professionally, I would say down the road, I would really love to be a chief of something. I don't know what that is yet because we're still kind of exploring titles but my supervisor knows like that's the trajectory of my career. I want to be a chief because I am a chief in real life, so I just need the title now
I
to go with.
love it. I see something, right?
Yes, I want to be a C of something, but I sit at the table with them, but I don't have the title yet. So I'm waiting for that. But they all know I probably talk about it too often about the trajectory of my career.
Well, if you
So
don't talk about it, it won't happen. So I
that's right.
love
You have
that
to
you're
manifest
speaking
it.
up.
You have to let
Yeah.
people know what you want. Exactly.
Yes. I
But
love
I
that
want
you're
to earn
speaking
it. So it's important for me to earn things. I don't ever want to feel like I'm given something just because I talk about it a lot. So I feel like that's really important for every position too. So you should earn where you're at.
Well, that is so awesome. Thank you, Laura, for being
Yeah.
on and even more so for sharing so many nuggets. You guys listening today, I hope and I know that you now know something new. And as
Okay.
I say on the end of every show, knowing something new without applying that something new can lead to nothing new. So
Wow.
what homework are you going to give yourself? You don't have to do every single thing that you heard today. That's not realistic. It's not going to happen. But what's that one thing? That one big takeaway that you're going to do now? My business is called You Evolving Now, not you evolving tomorrow or January 1st. What's that thing you're going to take and you're going to do now to enhance your leadership and work-life harmony and also that of those that you are leading? So, Laura, as we wrap up, how can people get in touch with either you,
Yeah.
whether it's on social media, email, whatever you prefer, or
Yeah.
what if they're interested in working for
Oh,
and with
come work for
PRG?
me. Join us. We work for the best company ever. So please join us. You can look up prgrealestate.com. We are based in Philadelphia. Please check out our website. We have openings posted there. We would love to have you come work with us, especially me. Come work with me. And you can find me on LinkedIn under Laura King MacDonald, as well as on Instagram. It's Laura_K_MacDonald. We couldn't get the letters together, but you get the point. So please come follow me. I post a lot about my daughter and our travels on there. So I'd love to meet all of you. Reach out. And you can also email is also great. It's on all of those avenues, but you can do it's L MacDonald, that's MacDonald at prgrealestate.com.
Okay, guys, you heard it here, and it is clickable. So whether down below or up above where you're watching or listening to this, connect with Laura, PRG. Stay tuned for more great nuggets on our shows coming up, and have an awesome rest of your day.
Yeah,
Talk to you
thank
next
you
time.
so much. Have a great one.